And the servants of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out and met them together by the pool of Gibeon. And they sat down, the one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. Abner said to Joab, "Let the young men now arise and play before us." And Joab said, "Let them arise." Then they arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertaineth to Ishbosheth, and the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they caught every one his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side, so they fell down together. Wherefore the place was called Helkath Hazurim, which is in Gibeon. And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. Now I'm going to stop there for 1 second, and we're going to go back. Now, you'll notice this is the beginning of a civil war. And we have a civil war going on in Syria right now.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure there's civil wars going on in other nations of the world. But Abner had set up Ishbosheth as the king, who was Saul's son and heir of the throne, but not really, because God had already said David was the heir of the throne.
That's right.
So they went against what God had said, and it's said that the army, Abner's army was camped in Gibeon, which means hilly, and it was on the border of Judah. And it says that Joab, the son of Zeruiah, Joab, his name means Jehovah fathered, and Zeruiah means wounded. So David sent his armies under the command of Joab, and the armies met at an oasis in Gibeon. Israel on one side of the oasis and Judah on the other side. Now where is Ishbosheth? At bed and home, laying down, where he always likes to be. The king, this king they hired, he likes to lay down in bed a lot.
Kind of a lazy king.
He's a lazy king, and Abner's his like I say, he's his main chancellor. Abner was just like Hitler, except Abner was probably a nicer guy than Hitler, really.
Maybe a tad nicer.
Yeah, a tad nicer than Hitler. Okay, now they meet by this pool, and I thought it was interesting. They said that they want the boys to play, 12 of them on one side and 12 of them on the other. The number 12 in the Bible is always a number of government. Have y'all noticed that? 12 tribes, 12 disciples, and then 12 to represent our nation and 12 to represent your nation. So you'll find that the number 12 is the number of organization. Okay, but he says that they want to play. Now this word play in Hebrew is shahak, and it means to make sport, root, or laugh. Well, I didn't think this was very funny.
I didn't think so either.
No.
This is one game you do not want to be in.
I think my version said compete.
Compete, yeah. Compete's a good one. Make sport,
Yeah.
compete. But what Abner says and Joab says is, okay, let's have 12 guys each other and they can kill each other. Basically, that's what they said.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was cool.
Now, I didn't think it was either, but I wanted to point out something here that's very interesting. They would run the people from Judah, David's men, were smarter than the men of Benjamin. And the reason they were, they used a tactic. If they rush at you with your sword like this, right? And the first thing you want to do is do like that to cover yourself. Well, they use their short sword. They grab you by the head. And then they shove the short sword under your fifth rib. Now, the fifth rib is very important. If you count down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I stick a knife right here in my chest, where is it going to go?
Your heart.
Your heart.
It's going to go right in your heart.
If your heart's on that side.
You're going to see this over and over in these scriptures where people are assassinated, where people are murdered, and it always seems to happen in the fifth rib. So it is a battle tactic to hit you in the fifth rib with a sharp spear or a knife. And you'll notice it says it over and over. Now, your version might have said something different. Okay, after these guys caught them, and the people from Judah just won. They decimated Abner's men, and they called the place Helkath Hazurim, and your version may have translated it, because I found a lot of the versions translated that rather than putting that gigantic Hebrew word in there. But it means field of sharp knives, or field of smooth sharp knives.
Why didn't they just say field of death?
Field of death, yeah. Well, you know, they used sharp knives this time, and apparently the Israelites fell underneath the people from Judah. It says, and afterwards there was a battle, okay? And it says that Israel was beaten by the servants of David. You'll notice that, okay? So everybody understands about how with their kind of war tactics. I thought that was kind of interesting. Get them to duck, grab their heads, and stick them in the ribs. Okay, so y'all remember that if somebody's trying to attack you. Okay? All right. Now we come to some more very, very interesting trek here. I call this part following a little too close. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah there, Joab, Abishai, and Ashael. And Ashael was as light of foot as a roe. And Ashael pursued after Abner, and going, he turned not to the right hand nor to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Ashael? And he said, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to thy right or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take his armor. But Ashael would not turn aside from following him. And Abner said again to Ashael, Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold my face to Joab thy brother? Howbeit he refused to turn aside, wherefore Abner with the hinder end of his spear smote him under the 5th rib, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And it was come to pass that as many as came to the place where Ashael fell down and died stood still. And Joab and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammah, that lieth before Giah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. All right. Now, let's look at some of these guys here. Now, we already seen that Zeruiah means wounded, and then Joab, Jehovah Father, Abishai, father of a gift. Ashael means God has made, and then we see there that Ashael is as light on his feet as a roe. Well, y'all know what a roe is, right? A roe is a gazelle. Okay. Now, Ashael, being a good runner, pursues after Abner, who is the commander of the Israelites. And if he's killed, the kingdom's going to fall. Yep. Okay, now, so, now, I also want to point out the sons of Zeruiah. Do you know who Zeruiah is? It says wounded. As far as it's a girl.
Oh, Zeruiah's a woman?
Yeah, it's David's sister.
Really?
Yeah, these 3 sons are these are his cousins that they end up doing some things that David's not very happy about. No. Right here, killing Abner was not what David wanted, and we're going to find out more about that. But as this young man's running behind Abner, I think Abner's on a horse. I didn't say he was, but he told him, "You need to go get some armor to fight me. Turn around, go get some armor if you're going to fight me. I'm not going to kill you and have your brother mad at me by me killing you in cold blood with no armor on, you following me with nothing. Right. Who do you think you are, following the commander of the Israelites anyway?" Right?
Right.
He tells him, "Quit fighting." Well, he said, yeah, he wouldn't listen. Abner told him, "You know what? It's going to cause a blood feud between me and your brother if I kill you." He basically was telling him, "I'm going to kill you if you don't get off my back." You ever wanted to kill somebody if they didn't get off your back? Okay. And by law, if someone kills your brother, you got to kill the person that kills your brother. He gets to flee. We talked about Hebron. Hebron was a city of refuge. You know, so when we see Hebron, if anybody goes to Hebron and he's killed somebody, he can stay there.
But can't they see that he's following him?
Yeah, they see. But whether on foot or horseback, with the spear pointed toward the ground, he's got it pointed toward the ground. This is why I think he was on a horse. I think he took it, he just did like that, and it went right through the fifth rib. Horse goes through the fifth rib, you're going to kill him every time.
Right.
Okay.
Especially if you're using a sword.
Yeah.
And that place became a memorial in honor of Ashael. Now the blood feud starts. Verse 24, you find right there the brothers start chasing Abner up into the hills. The hills of Ammah. Ammah means a cubit. And it says it's by the wilderness of Gibeon, but before Giah, which means Giah is a fountain. So apparently there's a fountain up in this hill. And that's another thing. When you start looking up these words, the whole picture of the scene can become greater if you know what the words mean. Okay? All right, I got some time. We're going to continue going on. Verse 25. Joab blows a trumpet. The children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner and became one troop and stood on the top of a hill. Then Abner called to Joab and said, "Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren?" And Joab said, "As God liveth, unless thou hadst spoken, surely then in the wilderness the people had gone up every one from following his brother." So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still and pursued after Israel no more. Neither fought any more they. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, passed over Jordan, went through all Bithron. They came to Mahanaim, and Joab returned from following Abner. When he gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men and Ashael. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin and of Abner's men, so that 360 men died. And they took up Ashael and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem. Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at the break of day. Okay, so now we see the civil war is gathering even worse. More men are gathering together. The Benjamins gathered themselves up in the hills, and they're about to fight again because they're chasing them up through the hills. And Abner calls to Joab and says, "Shall the sword devour forever?" And you think about that. That's a good question. If you have bitterness in your heart towards someone, or you really despise someone for some reason, that they've done something bad to you. Maybe they have killed one of your children. Right. You know, like maybe a drunk driver. I'm not saying you all have had that problem. But you know what I'm saying? He was saying the only thing you're going to have in the end of all this is bitterness. Yeah. If you carry a sword all your life, you're going to have bitterness in the end. You know, how long are you going to chase after your enemy?
Right.
Verse 27 says something interesting. It's mentioned many, many times. He says, "As God liveth," or by God. It's almost like a curse word.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's not cursing necessarily. Kind of like when people say, "Oh my God."
Uh-huh.
I think it's not good, but people say it, you know. And I think this is a similar wording is, "As God liveth, I'm going to do this," right? And it was a good thing Abner spoke, because it was like having a peace treaty with them. They agreed to have a ceasefire. So Abner and his crippled army went home,
Right.
and so did David's army. David had lost 20 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And Abner had lost 360 men
Yep.
Yeah.
in one little small skirmish.
Yeah.
And this was a small skirmish. This was not a large, huge battle.
That's still a lot of losses, 360.
It is a lot of loss. Well, one's too many to me, but in this kind of fighting, these are brothers and sisters fighting each other. Just like when we had our Civil War in the United States, we had brothers and sisters killing each other, you know, fighting each other. Okay, They went and buried Ashiel in his father's tomb in Bethlehem in the house of bread. And then of course, David's army went back to Hebron. And the word Hebron means society or company. It also can mean an enchantment or a spell. It is, like I say, it is the city of refuge. All right, where am I at? It is 10:30. Should we keep going? Yeah, I better keep going because we started late, right? All right, chapter 3, verse 1. David grows stronger. Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. Unto David were sons born in Hebron. The firstborn, well, this is going to be fun to talk about. The firstborn was Amnon of Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess. The second, Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelitess. And the third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. And the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. The fifth, Shephatiah, the son of Abital. And the sixth, Ithream by Eglah, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. Okay.
Boy.
Yeah.
A lot of baby mamas.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this one.
Yeah.
First of all, there's a long war coming up, just like the war in Afghanistan. It just doesn't seem to go away. Okay?
Right.
But it said that David waxed, and that word, I looked it up, the word is halak. It means to walk. He walked stronger and stronger, and Saul's armies kept getting weaker and weaker. Now you'll notice that he had 6 sons, and every one of them were born of a different one.
Yeah, they are. That's what that.
Oh, yeah. When I started studying David, let me just tell you something about this. This is 6 sons. David had 20 kids, plus some that weren't mentioned. Okay? So,
He was a busy man.
yeah. And so he had all these different women. And here I'm going to tell you what their names are, right? You want to hear them?
Yes.
First one here is Amnon, right? Amnon. Amnon means faithful. Okay?
And who's the one that names these children?
I do not know. And sometimes their names mean what they end up being, which is kind of interesting sometimes. Okay, the next one is Chileab. I hope I'm saying that right. It means held by his father or his father's picture. He looks just like his dad.
Oh.
On mine it says the second one was Daniel.
Daniel?
That's what my version says. On verse 3 it says the second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail, the widow of Nabal.
You know, they may have this King James Version says Chileab.
How do you spell Chileab?
Chileab. And it may be another name. Daniel?
That's what mine says.
Huh.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. Because Daniel was a name given to of course, one of the Hebrew children that was in captivity. It had nothing to do with this story, so it must be a different Daniel. But this one says Chileab here in the King James. I did not look it up in another version because I didn't think you'd need to.
Yeah.
Joyce, do you have the Amplified or
It says Chileab.
Chileab? Okay.
Chileab?
No.
Chileab.
C like chili ab.
Yeah, Chileab.
Chileab.
Like the country chili.
Mm-hmm.
And then ab.
Abs.
And then it says here the third was Absalom,
Sorry. What does Chileab mean?
held by his father or his father's picture. He looks just like his dad, right? Very interesting when it comes to the next guy, Absalom, and we're going to find out later on, Absalom causes his father a lot of grief in the future, but his name means father of peace, which he was not peaceful at all.
No.
So that was in a misname on the child, right?
Misnomer
And
for
it's
sure.
father of peace?
It means father of peace. And the son of Maacah means bruised. And it says the daughter of Talmai, which means a ridge or a terrace, and he's the king of Geshur, which means a bridge. Now, This is very interesting here, though, about this particular lady that was married to or joined to David and his kingdom, and they had Absalom. But you'll notice that common thing to make an alliance with another country was to marry your daughters off and give your daughters away. These were property, believe it or not. All these little women were his property. Now, I don't mean to say anything bad about women, but that's the way it was.
That's the way it is still in some countries.
Right. They were property. They were property. And you'll notice it keeps saying that, where's she at? Yeah. Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal. You know, they keep saying that's the wife of Nabal. Abigail still belongs to Nabal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he rescued a widow. It's okay, but the way it is, it's still Nabal's. If somebody from Nabal's family wanted to come and take her, they could. Okay? Just the way it is. But this was a marriage arrangement, I believe, between Maacah and David. She's from the kingdom of Geshur. The next person, the number 4th son was born was Adonijah. That means the worshiper of Yahweh. I'd like to have that name, Adonijah. The worshiper of Yahweh, or Lord of Yahweh. The next guy's, let's see, and he was the son of Haggith. Of course, that's a woman's name too. And her name means festive.
I don't think I'd like to have a name like Hag.
Hag. I think I'd rather have it than Eglah. You're going to find out about Eglah down at the bottom. Haggith at least means festive. And then the next son, the 5th son, was Shephatiah. And that means God has judged, or Jehovah has judged. And he was the son of Abital, which means father of dew. It's still a girl's name. And number 5, the 6th one, Ithream, means excellent of people. And the wife's name was Eglah. Poor Eglah, her name means heifer or cow.
But you know what? Back then, that was a good thing.
Yeah, we're just going to call her heifer. Ah, heifer. We went to little girl named heifer, didn't we? I did. Well, that's what they called her. Okay, that brings me to verse 6, chapter 3. We're going to stop where Ishbosheth accuses Abner. Okay, so I think we got it down, though. Where we're stopping at right now is where his kingdom is growing stronger. He's starting to have children, and the kingdom is being established here. And the war is dragging on longer. And so that's where we'll pick up next week, is where Ishbosheth, the king of the Israelites, accuses his commander of something. All right, thank you. God bless you.
Out there, huh?
I picked up a little bit more.
More?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, that we're not leaking, right?
Yes.
Especially right over there, they already closed off that winter. We got,
Oh yeah, we know. We've been by there. Pasale,
Pasale, señorita.
except you're a Sonora.
They're already.
I'll
blocked
take
Yeah, I know.
señorita
We
any chance
went
I
through
get.
the first one. The water was over the road right by y'all's house there. It was over the road. We thought, well, we can make it. Well, we went. Well, the second one, there was no way we could make it. So we had to turn around. And when we turned around and going back to the water
That's
the
what I
second
saw you.
time,
There it
then we
is.
felt it. That
you
time.
seen
It's in your mouth.
I was like,
Let it go.
I was like, oh.
Michael, I think.
Yeah, we're turning around.
I got a new car.
Where'd you get it?
Toyota Corolla.
They're going that way.
When did you get it?
Yesterday.
Went to the
The day to
back.
carry you down?
I don't know that way.
My truck wouldn't go in gear
One
yesterday.
spot you can go right there by the school.
It wouldn't go. So that's like, I drove mom's car to IHOP
Yeah, I know that by
with
Dobbs.
Marina.
Okay.
And then go up to
And we
the
went up there to IHOP and we got home, they were like, sit
Oh,
down.
okay, we'll have to do that next time. We didn't know that.
We just
I
got
mean,
off the
I know
phone
there's
with
school
Toya,
back there,
but
'cause I have to go get stuff.
they're pretty much making us a deal. We can't turn it down and he wants you to come up there and we're gonna talk
I
about it.
didn't know that.
And David, it's 2016, brand new, had 4 miles on it when I put it.
Nicholas.
How much your insurance gonna cost you?
Yeah, $250.
I'm sure if that one's that way, the other one
coverage
over
on
here
that.
is probably.
What about,
Yeah, you have to have it.
oh yeah, you had
Oh,
to.
yeah.
How much
What's your
payment?
I think it's more than that.
Payments,
That
we're looking at
water that we
$491.
it was rushing over.
But as much as I'm making at UPS right now through these 3 months, and then Jason already said I got a permanent
I
spot
know
at
one
Walk if
time,
I want it.
sign on the backside, hey.
Permit for,
Working at Walk Supply.
They took it all the way up to the sign.
Jason's gonna hire me.
Sign right there.
Yeah.
well, I knew it, we knew that.
That's,
So
Yeah.
he's gonna hire me for inside at the first of the year. So I'll be making 10 an hour there, working 45, 50 hours a week. That's money. And then UPS is money. And I'm gonna try to pay it off within the first year and a half or so. Pay like $1,400 a month.
Where'd you go? You're gonna be busy.
I don't really care for this thing. Put me back.
As long as you're staying at home.
nice going
What's the
to
name?
college, boy.
He was anticipating, he was expecting it to be somebody else.
At our house.
But I saved you from Karen!
Yeah.
There'll be a time that you'll save him from me, trust me, I'm sure. Right, Zia?
If I don't have to go out and run.
Oh, you can sit on
Yeah, you got him a new car, so. Yeah.
Okay,
You know
Zia.
why? Skinny. You gotta put some weight on. You gotta put some body fat on him a little bit.
If this is what I have to suffer to be skinny, then I'll be skinny.
No, you be cold
Yeah.
all the time.
Come in. Whatever.
Okay, I'm not over there.
Come here. Is he not feeling well? No, he's just.
Attach that to hip pump.
Hi,
There's a
Daddy.
force field around Mommy.
There's a force field around.
There's a chair.
That was funny. Mommy. Not the mama, not the mama. Did y'all ever see those?
Yeah, the dinosaurs.
Yeah, the dinosaurs. That was so funny.
I like the dinosaurs.
I did too. Not the mama, not the mama. She did. Okay, I'm cold today. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm saying sorry to you. We're sipping.
I didn't leave the house.
Because it probably ain't gonna happen. Because I wanted to, it ain't gonna happen.
Oh, I'll take it back. I went to the mailbox and get the.
Put your slippers on at least, right?
I got dressed. I'm one of those people that, when I get up in the morning, I might stay in my pajamas till I finish breakfast, then I get dressed. I grew up in a preacher's family. We had to
You had to
get
be dressed, yeah.
We had to get dressed because you never knew who was coming.
Had on this up there.
I think your hair looks cute.
I didn't have my, I had this, ring. What?
No, I think it looks cute.
She likes it.
I like
The way it
it.
looks, I mean,
I've never seen your hair like that.
You got rained on, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Like
When
I
I
never see like
when
that.
I get rained on,
See, mine goes.
mine gets plastered when I get
Well,
rained
I
on.
did roll it, but you can't tell it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
It doesn't look goofy.
Mine just is the opposite, mine just.
See, Mine doesn't. Mine, see, and it doesn't get curly. It just gets frizzy.
Oh, why?
Stealing? It's like that.
It is terrible because I already work every single day. And they're what? Yeah. And he's the one who's taking care of
What? Oh my gosh, I've been having so much fun with this thing.